With my action this afternoon, we're putting every school receiving taxpayer dollars on notice that if you let men take over women's sports teams or invade your locker rooms, you will be investigated for violations of Title IX and risk your federal funding. There will be no federal funding. So this will effectively end the attack on female athletes at public K-12 schools and virtually all U.S. colleges and universities. I don't think we've missed anything, but if we do, we'll make it up very quickly with an order.
That was Donald Trump yesterday at the White House. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, Water Filtration Systems, BetterWater.com. Signing an executive order banning men from women's sports. I had a friend that was there while this executive order was being signed. Turning Point USA contributor Morgan McMichael. She's on the line now. What's up, Morgan?
Thank you so much, Chris. Yesterday truly was just such a historic day. I feel just honored to have been a part of this day and something I would have never imagined in my wildest dreams. You never know what happens when you live in D.C., I'll say that.
Yeah, it's so cool. I know, like, one of your biggest viral moments was when you were exposing the tuck bathing suits for transgender kids at Target.
Yes.
And so you've been in this fight for a while. I'm glad that you were there too. What's the process like to get into the White House for something like this? I know that a lot of people saw what happened on TV, but they don't understand the background. And there were a lot of people in the room. So, like, how did you get invited? What's the wait? Like, how early do you show up? How do you get cleared by Secret Service? I have so many questions that have nothing to do with what happened.
Well, I hopefully can answer them. This was my first time at the White House. I had received correspondence just inviting me to go. I didn't even know that I was on a list. I didn't even know that this would happen. And I was invited the day before, and I found out from a lot of other of my friends and peers that they were also invited the day before, just through an email. You have to just fill out a Secret Service clearance link of just accepting the invitation. And honestly, showing up at the White House when you're already pre-approved and on a list to go into an event, it's very easy. They tell you exactly where to go, whether it's the east entrance, the west entrance, the front. You just go through Secret Service, they scan your ID, and off you go through two different checkpoints, one metal detector, and then you got to take everything out of your pockets before entering in. So this event was in the East Room, so we entered in the East Wing. I believe it's on the Treasury side. And upon walking in, we were greeted with coat check, with multiple different members saying, "Welcome to the White House." It was a very beautiful experience, and there was live music being played of the entirety of the event in all of the different waiting rooms. And so next to the East Wing, there is the red, blue, and white room and the green room, which are all just beautifully decorated. I think the one thing that I took away from walking into the White House is how breathtaking it is. It is just so beautifully ornate and crafted. And the whole time you're there is Secret Service everywhere. There's security. You're very, very safe. I think it might be one of the safest places to be in America right now. And you're just kind of walking in, and they kind of guide you where to go. They have water, refreshments, live music playing. And what was really cool is since yesterday's executive order signing was banning men from women's sports, they were playing songs like Dancing Queen and Girls Just Want to Have Fun in
That's
a quartet
hilarious
style. So it was really cool.
So it's your first time in the White House. Was it surreal? Was it kind of like, holy crap, how did I get here?
Definitely a surreal moment of looking around the room, being surrounded by senators, members of Congress, governors, lieutenant governors, attorney generals, and being like, how am I one of the people sitting in this chair in this room? Because other than invited guests, it was all governors, lieutenant governors, members of Congress, obviously the president, and then behind President Trump was a plethora of young female athletes. Independent Women's Forum was present there. Riley Gaines was there, Concerned Women for America. So all of the pro-women organizations were present. But in the room actually sitting, other than that, was just the press. So it truly was such a surreal moment of just looking around the room, being like, feeling like almost I don't belong here, but then honestly just thanking the Lord and knowing that I have worked so hard to get into a room like this and be able to walk into the White House was an honor.
No, it's really cool. And I get what this executive order means to me as like a dad who has 2 young daughters. I don't want my daughters playing against boys and having it ruin their scholarship chances, or God forbid they get injured. But for somebody like you, who you've been fighting against this ideology now for years, what did this executive order mean to you personally?
For me, it means protecting the future generation, because I don't want my future daughters to have to combat against this issue that we fought so hard for over the last 5 years. And, I'm close friends with Riley, and just seeing how much she has championed this issue and brought it now to the White House is incredible. And I look at a lot of these public schools and private schools when traveling to speak, and I hear these young women who are just agonized by the issue of having men in their locker rooms, having tampons in boys' bathrooms, and affirming this gender lunacy. And so for once, it's like we are standing on the grounds of sanity and common sense and telling the wokeness to go. We're not going to kowtow down to these 1% of people that think that we need to change the way that we live our lives. And we need to safeguard women at the end of the day. And there's a reason that Title IX existed, and the previous administration completely undermined women for 4 years. And so with just a single signature yesterday, Title IX is now protected, and women are protected in schools. And, this isn't just for the female athletes. This is for female businesswomen who may in the future would have had to share a restroom with male colleagues. And it's really unfortunate that this even had to be an executive order. It should have never even had to be an executive order. But to get to this moment where women are now going to be able to compete in their sports and not have to share the podium with a man like Riley had to, compete against a man and be outnumbered with weightlifting, cycling, whatever it may be, this is for women's safety.
Yeah, it's unreal. And I want to focus in on a point you made there. You travel around to high schools and colleges, and you do that quite often. I mean, me and you, we talk about this all the time. You're there all the time. And the past 4 years, you've been there the entire time. What do those girls say about having these men play against them when you're seeing them at high schools and on college campuses?
It's absolutely awful and horrifying, because a lot of these girls want to quit and give up because they tell me that it's not worth it. Why would I compete against a man when I know I'm not going to win? Why would I continue to apply for scholarships that I know I'm not going to receive? And it has reversed the merit-based system and instead turned it to DEI and LGBTQ glorification. And that's what these girls have been seeing for the last 4 years, of feeling like, why am I competing? What is this even for? There was a girl yesterday that President Trump shouted out, and I can't remember her name, but she was a volleyball player, and a male athlete spiked a ball, hit her face, and caused her so much injury that she was paralyzed on the right side and had to undergo surgery. I cannot remember her name.
I know. I've seen that viral video, and it's horrifying.
Yes. And so she was there present in the room, along with so many other female athletes that have shared the locker room. Paula Scanlon was on the team with the swimmer, Leah Thomas, or Mr. Thomas, should I say, the one who Riley Gaines shared the podium with, where she rightfully earned first place. But it's like so many of these female athletes have been undermined, and their careers have been ended or ruined because of these male athletes. And so finally, the NCAA couldn't stand up for these female athletes. So President Trump had to sign an executive order to save our entire country from this lunacy.
And is it just me? But I think there's like a silent majority that are afraid to be canceled at establishments like the NCAA, where they understand that this is lunacy and they understand that this needed to change, but they were too afraid to speak up. Am I wrong in thinking that?
No, you are absolutely correct. And the issue of gender and transgenderism is actually one of the biggest issues that people lie about their support for because they fear what the mainstream is going to say about them. So when you actually look at exit polling numbers when they're anonymous or if people don't have to put their name on something, they're not for men and women's sports. They're not for this gender-affirming care for minors. And so all of these executive orders are actually wildly popular within the American populace. And it is the first time that a president has actually done something about it.
Yeah, Scott Jennings was saying last night on CNN that Trump is the champion of finding the 80-20 issues. Like, that's his secret superpower. And he kind of forces the left to support the 20%. And it's wildly unpopular. But they get themselves in this echo chamber and they get wound up and they think that they're on the right side. I appreciate your fight and what you've done for this and getting this across the finish line. What was the vibe and the energy like in the room when he signed that executive order?
It was just electric. Seeing all of those young girls just run up there and be so excited to see and witness President Trump signing the order was magnificent. Everyone was just cheering. It was one of those moments of just taking it all in and realizing that all of the hard work and advocating that we have done over the last 5 years really paid off. And you know what? All of the issues were just resolved with a single signature because men are no longer able to compete in women's sports, and that is in law. It
was such a cool moment when he called up all those kids. I'm going to play a clip real quick.
You know, if you'd like to gather around me, I think I'm going to be okay. Come on. Come on.
And these girls rushed the podium. Young girls, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Secret Service is worried about them. If we have to worry about them, we have big problems.
I mean, they rushed that podium. How cool was that?
It was pretty awesome. I was actually standing right on the left side, or sitting right on the left side, filming a video similar to that one, right in the front row. And so seeing all those girls gather around, I mean, it definitely brought tears to a lot of people's eyes in that room, or almost tears. It was truly a beautiful moment of protecting women and being in a room surrounded by so many strong, powerful women, congressmen and women senators. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was wonderful. And all those kids around the president of the United States, and not one of them was sniffed, Morgan.
Absolutely. You are right there. You don't have to worry about that anymore.
Morgan McMichael, Turning Point USA contributor. She's been in this fight a long time. How can we keep up with you, Morgan?
You guys can keep up with me on any social media platforms. You just spell out my first name, Morgonn. You can find me.